Louisville clash. Kansas going against Louisville. Hello, everybody. Jay Randolph to call the play-by-play, and alongside to analyze the action. Great to have Bucky Waters with us. Bucky, we've got two top 20 teams here, two very talented teams.
Indeed they are, Jay. You know, both of these teams are different, but they're much improved from their November meeting. In that game, Larry Brown administered a 5-point loss on Denny Crum, which paid him back for the 5-point loss in the national championship to his UCLA team in 1980. The young Cardinals are now tough, and they're coming off an unexplained loss at home. Kansas on a roll, coming off a win over Oklahoma, and of course a rare road win at Missouri. A great game. Super athletes in the fast lane above the rim. Sit back, relax.
I know you're going to enjoy it. Stay with us. We'll be back for Kansas and Louisville right after these messages. Billy Thompson, Herbert Crook, the talented freshman Ellison at center with Wagner and Hall at the guards. And for the Jayhawks of Larry Brown, a team that has an 18-2 record, Danny Manning, NBC's Freshman of the Year last year, Kellogg, Dreiling, Hunter, and Thompson. Dreiling set to jump for Kansas in white against Purvis Ellison. Louisville in red. Hope you'll enjoy it. And the tap out of bounds to the far side. It will belong to Louisville. Number 55 there is Billy Thompson. Milt Wagner with the red knee brace. And Kansas opening man-to-man. Purvis Ellison trying to work it in under. He does. The shot up by Billy Thompson, and the first foul of the game. They worked it inside to Thompson. The foul is charged to Dreiling. Larry Brown, 45 years old, from Long Island, never experienced a losing season.
At pro or college level. He's a little excited early. His team has been on a sensational roll this week. Just a wonderful win for Kansas fans over Oklahoma, and a rare win on the road at Missouri, but they may be a little tired.
Thompson shooting 63.3 at the free throw line. The senior from Camden, New Jersey, part of Louisville's Camden connection. You see that sea of fans behind him. It's a tough place to shoot. Rebounded Dreiling. This is Cedric Hunter getting along the line. The shot put up by Thompson won't go. That's Calvin Thompson for Kansas. And here's another foul. And that is 2 on Dreiling, the big guy from Wichita, in trouble early for the Jayhawks.
Oh my, Larry Brown is really, he has reason to be upset now. Dreiling is key to this club. Less than a minute played. The 7-footer, who is much improved, and one of the reasons the Jayhawks are 18-2 is already sitting down, and the 7-footer's now about 5'9", and he can't help the Jayhawks.
Chris Piper, number 24, a sophomore from here in Lawrence, a young man that has improved also with a weight program over the summer months, has come in to replace him. No score here in the opening moments. Hall out front, moving it around to Wagner. Hall, a great outside shooter. Almost lost it, picked up by Wagner. His shot won't go, tapped in by Billy Thompson. First points of the game. Louisville putting a little pressure on Kansas in the backcourt, Bucky.
Well, it's a nuisance press down there. Where they're really dangerous is around the midcourt line, and we'll watch that as the game progresses. They start soft and gradually turn the screws down.
Louisville did something a bit unusual for them. They went into a zone late against Memphis State. Memphis State. Foul on Milt Wagner. Wagner, the senior from Camden, New Jersey, his first, and team foul number 1 against the Cardinals.
Going down inside, looking for Manning early. Part of the resurgence of this second half by Kansas has been a concentrated effort to get the ball down inside to Manning and Dreiling, and now Manning has to do double duty. We need to point out these officials are from the Metro Conference, which of course is where Louisville is from.
Kellogg drives in, he gets it, and the foul. And he'll have a chance for the three-point play.
Well, I don't know whether it's the intensity, Jay Randolph, or what, but we get an awful lot of whistle blowing early. Good power move down inside. Ron Kellogg, a streak player, a power player. Looks like jackpot bowling.
Foul on Herb Crook is his first. Kellogg on the line. from Omaha, Nebraska's Northwest High School, averaging 16.6 a game, leading scorer for the Jayhawks. And Kansas takes a 3-2 lead here in the early going.
Good matchup out front here. Cedric Hunter against Milt Wagner. Hunter held Wagner 2 for 15 in Madison Square Garden. One of the reasons that Kansas was able to beat Louisville. Just one of the reasons.
Shot put up by Wagner. Rebound Thompson. Feed to Hunter. Hunter on the run. Stops and pops. It won't go for him. And right back comes Louisville as the pass came out from Wagner to Hall. Now Purvis Ellison. And backed up underneath there was Crook. And a foul call. Foul is on Louisville. Purvis Ellison.
The Cardinals on the run. Power move inside. Bad shot that time by Herb Crook. Ellison called for the foul, so at least the center spot is evening up in the foul situation. I hope you brought a jersey, Jay. It looks to me like we're not going to have anybody left at this rate.
Well, they're certainly calling him close. Manning to Kellogg for the jumper. Air ball over the hoop, and Ellison comes away for the Cardinals.
Oh, both these teams love the fast lane, and they have the athletes to do it.
Crook takes the turnaround shot. Batted around, out of bounds underneath. It belongs to the Jayhawks. 15,000 plus jammed into this great old building here in the Midlands. Cool hand Luke. Al McGuire calls him. 48-year-old Denny Crum, a native Californian, came out of Pierce Junior College to play for John Wooden.
Looking for win number 350 today.
Hunter holding on outside. He's picked up by Hall. Manning off balance. Rebound taken down by Ellison. Here comes Billy Thompson to Hall.
There's a good matchup. Manning and Thompson. Two incredible athletes at 6'11 and 6'8 who can play like point guards or centers. Just amazing, their versatility.
Thompson's fall away shot won't go down. Both clubs a little cold in their shooting. Calvin Thompson doubles it off to Hunter, down to Manning. Manning from 15 doesn't get it. And back comes Herbert Crook. Both clubs having trouble finding the hoop. We've played nearly 3.5 minutes. Both clubs are 1 for 6 from the floor. Underneath, beautiful play by Ellison. Ellison getting good help from Crook. Thompson takes a jumper. It won't fall. And Hall rebounds. Back out comes Louisville. And on the run, Wagner. Shot put up by Ellison won't go down. Ellison rebounding, getting it back to Wagner. Out for the jumper by Crook. Underneath Thompson, no basket. And a foul on Manning, I believe. It was either Manning or Thompson underneath. Manning. That's his first. Team foul number 3.
Both coaches seem to be achieving everything they want to do. The ball just won't go down. Good board play in here. Thompson going back up strong.
Thompson along the baseline, back to Hall. He can hit from there, doesn't get it down. And Thompson rebounding again. That's Calvin Thompson for Kansas, down to Hunter. Hunter brings it back up, and the Jayhawks set it up. They're down 4-3. Now in underneath on 55, Billy Thompson against Manning. Number 1 on Thompson, 14 foul against Louisville. A very fast pace first 4 minutes, but not much done on the scoreboard for either of these clubs. Cedric Hunter, a junior from South High in Omaha, Nebraska, puts it into Piper. He's a local boy right out of Lawrence. Kellogg and Thompson, 2 fine shooters from the wing. Kellogg turns it over. He walks. That's the first turnover of the game.
That's the point I'm making. Both coaches are in their game plan. They're running in transition as they like. The problem is they're a little bit tight. Mostly, I think the shooter's having his consoles checked after every shot.
Well, they'll get a chance to talk it over. Louisville leads Kansas 4 in the Big 8. Louisville in the Metro. The Big 8 has been the leading scoring conference in the nation the last 2 seasons.
It's a great crowd here, but before the Kansas crowd takes credit for the cold shooting of Louisville, you have to remember Louisville's already played at Rupp Arena and in the Mid-South Coliseum against Memphis State, so they're used to big crowds, noisy crowds, and hostile crowds.
And they've also played St. John's, Syracuse, and this Kansas club. Here's a foul charged on Kellogg. That is his first and the fourth team foul. The basket was good by Milt Wagner, and he'll go to the line with a chance for the three-point play. Wagner, the leading scorer for the Cardinals, 14.9. Red-shirted last year, had the broken right foot. They call him Ice, and he's cool.
Louisville, for the first time in Denny Crum's tenure there, had to give up their famed press because of the rash of injuries that kept him from a 20-season victory season for the first time. But now it's back, and with marvelous athletes, and they drop back in the switching man for man, which gets some teams in trouble. But their overall size is so good, you can't get a mismatch.
Kellogg against Hall, out to Hunter. Calvin Thompson underneath Manning. Danny Manning, his first field goal. 7-5 Louisville.
There's the guard inning. Pulled the string, went back door. Thompson put it right on the money.
Hall getting it around to Billy Thompson. Louisville, as you mentioned, coming off a loss to Cincinnati. I think you called it unexplainable. Here's Hall from 25. Foul called underneath. Ellison.
Unexplainable, Jay, because they had a 13-point lead with 13 to go. They built that from a 6-point lead at half, and it's very difficult to catch the Cardinals in Freedom Hall. They had some turnovers and just a great Cincinnati comeback. They said they were in the shooter's face every time. Give the credit to the Bearcats, but it is rare when the Cardinals lose in Freedom Hall, especially from behind.
Turnover to Kansas. That foul a moment ago was the second on Ellison. 5 team fouls now on the Cardinals here in the first half with 14.5 to play. Louisville up by 2. That was the second turnover for Kansas. Shot was put up by Crook. Back come the Jayhawks, 3-on-1. Hunter blocked. Great play by Wagner. Back to Hall. Hall driving in and scoring. And a foul underneath. And it's going to be called on Thompson of Kansas.
What a play by Milt Wagner. First of all, you got to picture Danny Manning in the middle at 6'11", makes a sensation. Using the correct hand, Milt Wagner using that inside hand makes the block on Cedric Hunter, who was just coming like a bullet. What a play.
Jeff Hall, the senior from Ashland, Kentucky.
I make that point because if Wagner had used the other hand, he would have brought his body across. At 6'5", Wagner is a shot blocker.
Louisville has doubled the score on Kansas here in the early going. 14 minutes to play. 10-5. The Cardinals lead it. Manning gets it to Piper. Piper playing for Dreiling. Dreiling sitting it out. The 7-1 center has 2 personal fouls. And this hurts this Kansas club. They've started the same 5 every single game. Kellogg. Tough shooting luck for him. Ellison rebounds. Wagner falls down. 2-on-1. Hunter and Manning playing games. Manning doesn't handle it. Oh, a big turnover there.
All right, I'm not making alibis, but remember now, this is the 3rd game this week for the Jayhawks. In fact, Larry Brown gave them off of practice yesterday, his starting team, and he said, today we're just going to have fun. This is a non-conference game. Watching him on the sideline doesn't look like he's having much fun.
Ellison in tight. Gets it up. Wouldn't go. Up goes Crook with it. They battle underneath, and it's ragtag action underneath there. Kellogg finally comes out for Kansas. Cedric Hunter now on the move. 13 minutes to play in the first half.
One of the things Larry Brown has to think about now is Dreiling. If Louisville creeps out much more, he may think about going zone.
Another turnover. Wagner, snowbird, bang.
Back to that point, he may have to consider putting Dreiling back in and perhaps going zone.
Wagner has 5 points. Louisville's biggest lead, 7. They have a 12-5 advantage.
Piper, the replacement, has been of no consequence so far.
No, he hasn't. This crowd trying to get Kansas back into the game. Thompson's shot comes up short. Piper gets the rebound. Piper out to Calvin Thompson. This Kansas club has only lost 2 games. Kellogg misses. Rebounded by Crook for Louisville. Kansas lost 92-86 in the NIT final to Duke. There's a jumper that is good by Ellison. Their other loss came in overtime at Memphis State, 83-80. 14-5 now. Louisville.
Kansas slowing it down now. Really trying to concentrate to go inside, to get a good percentage shot. The perimeter isn't doing it for him.
Foul on Billy Thompson, and substitutions coming into the game for Louisville as Crook goes out and Ellison goes out. We got number 44 in the game, Tony Kimbrough. And I didn't see who else is coming in, but we're going to have a timeout. 14-5 here in this first half. The 8th meeting between Louisville and Kansas. Louisville leading at 4-3. Back on November 29th, as Bucky mentioned, they were both in the Big Apple NIT at New York, and Kansas won at 83-78. Calvin Thompson with 25 for Kansas. Dreiling had 11 rebounds. Of course, Dreiling has been out of action because of foul problems early. Billy Thompson and Purvis Ellison each had 18 for Louisville in that game.
Both teams have improved since then. Mostly the improvement of Dreiling for Kansas, and the freshmen for Louisville have just become veterans.
Danny Manning breaks the drought. Manning has 4 points, 14-7, Louisville. Here is Kellogg taking it away in front of Kimbrough, and double dribble, and another cautious turnover right there. Boy, that is turnover number 5.
There's Larry Brown. If you can measure a coach by the kind of a shot his team gets coming out of a timeout, he gets an A+ for the last one. After that timeout, Larry Brown found Manning underneath and broke a long dry spell. Almost 4 minutes since Kansas had scored. And the irony of all this, Kansas is shooting 61% in Allen Fieldhouse this season.
I mentioned Kimbrough's in the game now for Louisville. So is number 21, Kenny Payne. Payne is a freshman from Laurel, Mississippi. 14-7. The Cardinals lead the Jayhawks. The jumper is a dandy by Kenny Payne. His first field goal. Payne, the player of the year in Mississippi as a senior. Hunter drives all the way. He did that a few times when these two teams met at Madison Square Garden in the NIT. He just took it all the way down. Now here's a turnover for the Cardinals.
Boy, you can feel the momentum changing now. That timeout has been everything for the Jayhawks. The thought of forcing Dreiling back in the game now has gone to the back burner.
Cedric Hunter. He's the assist leader. Manning getting it underneath, and traveling called on the play. As number 23, Archie Marshall, is in the game now for Kansas, and Marshall couldn't handle that pass. Mark McSwain, number 10, replacing Billy Thompson for Louisville.
One of the oldest plays going against the pressure. The back door, high post, and hit the corner. Cutting to the hoop. Manning threw the bounce pass a little low. That play started with Dr. Naismith, who invented the game, and ironically, the only coach in Kansas history to have a losing record. That shows you how tough it is to coach the game.
Right.
He invented it.
Tees right at the top. The jumper goes down for Milt Wagner. Wagner now with 7 points. He was 2 for 15 against Kansas at Madison Square Garden. He's come on better of late. Now they're beginning to warm up, Bucky. First basket for Calvin Thompson. 7-point lead for Louisville. 9.5 to play. First half, Lawrence, Kansas. Fog Allen Fieldhouse.
That spurt of offense by Kansas has really helped their defense. It always does.
Kenny Payne getting it back to Hall, and back out front it comes to Wagner. Ball away, jumper by Payne, won't go. Payne gets it back. Hall from the corner. Jeff Hall.
Hall's going to have a tough time getting his shots today unless there's a penetration and a kick out. Kansas is really bellying up, and he really needs a pick or a gap. You think it comes play to creation.
Handing off to Kellogg. Back out to Hunter. Calvin Thompson. Ball batted high in the air. Good hustle down there by Marshall. And Kellogg. It won't go. And high into the air is Wagner. Kansas, as you mentioned, Bucky, a tired club. They had a toughie here earlier in the week, defeating Oklahoma. First loss inflicted to Billy Cubs club, and then were 4-point winners on Thursday night at Missouri. Foul charge on Danny Manning. It is his second. That's team foul number 6.
Again, Larry Brown vociferous on this call. Let's watch. If Manning gets that foul, it's not a smart foul. It appeared from this angle, which was very poor, that he went straight up. Every time I look at Larry Brown, who's almost violent over there, I keep thinking of his term yesterday. We're going to take off practice today. We're going to have fun tomorrow. I don't agree with his idea of having fun on a beautiful Kansas afternoon.
Coming into the game, Mike Abram to replace Jeff Hall. Abram, number 34.
Well, Jay, they'll lose a little firepower from the outside jump shot, but Abram is very, very good on the press. A good athlete. One of the Cubby in the Louisville stable.
Wagner gets a couple at the line, and Piper will come back in for Kansas. Brown has been very, very upset with the proceedings here. It's going to be Manning who will sit it out. So it is Piper and Hunter and Marshall and Thompson and Kellogg on the court now for the Jayhawks.
The Louisville press is coming down further and further. They're starting to turn the screws. Kansas has got to stop looking parallel and back. They've got to attack it and go to the basket. That's when they're at their best.
Thompson takes the jumper, and if you give him that one, he'll kill you. 4 points for Calvin Thompson. 22-13, Louisville. 8 minutes to play in the first half. Wagner bringing it down against Hunter. In underneath, 2 points for McSwain, who just came in a few moments ago. McSwain's first field goal, and it's 24-13 Louisville.
Kansas becoming a little tentative against the pressure. Without Dreiling, they're coming down and going to their half-court offense. And without Dreiling, it's not nearly as effective.
Dreiling, as Bucky mentioned, much improved. 2 points for the man off the bench, Archie Marshall. Marshall, a junior from Tulsa, Oklahoma, who came out of Seminole Junior College.
In fact, with Dreiling and Manning on the bench, you would think that Kansas would be really trying to run and not concentrating on the inside game.
Underneath, they got the pass through there to Mike Abram. He got it in and a foul call. Abram's first basket. The foul is on Piper.
It looked like it was a turnover. The beautiful splitting of the double team under to Abram, who just protected the ball well, took it up and in. A little bit of a short arm there. I think you heard some footsteps, but he got it down.
Nice assist for Kenny Payne on the play. Abram, a sophomore from Muncie, Indiana. Rebounded away by Archie Marshall. Cedric Hunter for Kansas, down to Piper. 7 minutes to play in the first half here in Lawrence. Ball batted out of bounds by Herbert Crook as they were trying to get it in along the line to Piper. And we've got a timeout with 6:58 to play in this first half. It's Louisville 26, Kansas.
Which will never convince Digger that basketball will kick it off as North Carolina back-to-back on NBC today and tomorrow. And tomorrow's going to be special. Carnation only at home for the Digger, never on the road.
Kansas will get the basketball with 6:58 to play in this first half, and Hunter will key it in. Out it comes to Marshall, back out front to Thompson. This is Kellogg, number 44.
That last offensive spurt by Kansas is up there. Field goal shooting to 37.
Another steal by Wagner. Tremendous play. Wagner all the way. His quickness is just remarkable. The way he's come back from that broken right foot. He had 34 against Memphis State in '84, one of his great games. 27 is high this year against Florida State. Kellogg put it up. He's fouled by Mark McSwain.
It was interesting yesterday talking to Denny Crum about his press. And he said, you know, it made him such a great team in New York. They attacked it so well. But I know he's glad that he's used it today. It's really turned Wagner on. Look at that turn at 6'5". He's really a small forward with the quickness and the range of a guard. Superb athlete.
Number 11 is Mark Turgeon, the little pepper pot from Topeka, Kansas. He's into the game to replace Cedric Hunter. He's a great crowd favorite here. Kellogg missing the free throw. Kellogg, an 86.3% free throw shooter, the best on the club, gets the second one down. 12-point Louisville lead, 28-16 with 6.5 to play. And underneath, McSwain lost it, tapped away by one of the Kansas players.
With that substitution, Kellogg now will take Wagner. And another mismatch. Turgeon is on Abram at 6'4".
Ball tapped around in underneath, and a foul called on Archie Marshall. And I'll tell you, Larry Brown, the coach of these Jayhawks, is steaming.
Every guard that Denny Crum puts in there is at least 6'4", which is a real matchup problem for Kansas.
Dreiling sitting it out. Dreiling has had a very fine year, averaging better than 11 points a game, shooting better than 64% from the field, getting nearly 7 rebounds a game. McSwain, the junior from Atlanta, Georgia St. Pius, misses. And the rebound to Marshall off to Turgeon. Turgeon getting it down. Thompson from the line. It won't go down. A fight for it underneath, and a great save by Piper, but he was out of bounds. Piper went over the Louisville bench. There he comes out of there, helped by Denny Crum. Nice effort.
Watch this effort now. Piper playing like a man possessed, knowing he's in the front court with Dreiling out and Manning out with personal fouls, and he really cleaned some sinuses over there. It's a good thing Denny Crum doesn't wear a hairpiece. He would have lost it.
6 minutes to play in this first half. 28-16 Louisville. The Cardinals, a foul underneath. And it'll go against Mike Abram, his first.
We might look for Louisville to take advantage of Turgeon, a very small 5'10". I mean, he's 5'10", but plays smaller. And with those big Louisville guards, they're very capable of posting up. Quite a story on this guy. When Larry Brown came here, he went down to tell this young man, Kansan, that he really didn't think he was big enough to play. Turgeon looked him right in the eye and said, "Coach, I'm better than any of the guards you've got." And Larry gave him a scholarship, and he played well for him.
Played at Hayden High School in the capital of the great state of Kansas, Topeka, and a wonderful young man. He gives it all he's got. 28-17, Louisville. Abram being guarded there by Turgeon. Piper takes the interception. Turnover. Here's Kellogg with the jumper. He's had a tough shooting time. Tapped in by Calvin Thompson. Or was it Marshall?
I'm not sure, Jay, but without the big men, Kansas now doing some gimmicks with their man-for-man, run and jump and trap.
Shot was up by Wagner. We'll check and see who they credit that last basket with. Was it Marshall or was it Thompson?
There was a forest of arms above the rim. No telling.
This foul is charged to Marshall, his second. And it'll put Wagner on the free throw line.
We've made a great deal out of Wagner's 2 for 15 in Madison Square Garden. One of those, in fact, was an offensive goaltending, which pretty well tells the story of his struggle offensively early.
Well, he now has 12 points here in the first half. We're going to credit that basket to Marshall for the time being.
You're not an Indian giver. There's no way you're going to take it back later, is there?
Well, maybe the official scorer will take it back. I don't know. If you're scoring with us, the bucket underneath in the crowd a moment ago to Marshall. 2 free throws by Wagner, 30-19. Louisville has the lead. 5:15 to go in the first half.
Without Dreiling, Kansas is a little quicker against the press.
The Turgeon shot won't go down. Rebounded underneath. And here is Hall back in the game, scoring from 15 on the right side.
Boy, he goes to that baseline, sets up, and they find him. He's some shooter.
Hall is out there along with Herb Crooks. Kenny Payne. McSwain and Wagner. Driving through, it won't go for Calvin Thompson. Crook rebound. The Kansas folks wanted a foul on that play. Shot put up by Kenny Payne, didn't go, and back comes Turgeon. The jumper by Kellogg. He gets it down. He's a wonderful wing shooter. Has half a dozen. 32-21. Louisville, 4:20 to play in the first half.
Kellogg, nicknamed Mr. Saturday. Now, only at Kansas in the Big 8 would a basketball player be able to earn that honor. Mr. Saturday.
He's had some remarkable Saturdays. He really has. Kansas has won 27 in a row here in this building. Hall, charging foul, no basket. Jeff Hall, his first personal. Billy Thompson back into the game, along with Tony Kimbrough for Louisville, as McSwain and Kenny Payne go to the bench. And we've got a timeout with 4 minutes to play, first half. Turgeon, Piper, Calvin Thompson, Archie Marshall, and Ron Kellogg on the court for Kansas. 32-21, Louisville.
Larry Brown trying to hang in there until the second half, down 11, with his two big men, Browning and Manning, on the bench with only 2 fouls. Interesting that he's not gambling either one starting the second half with 3.
Kansas has just committed its 8th turnover. Browning got in foul trouble in the opening minutes. And Larry had to sit him down, and he hasn't sought fit to bring him back. Shot put up by Hall, wouldn't go. Marshall rebounding. Turgeon.
Very strange. Hall posting up with Turgeon and fading away.
And in underneath, Calvin Thompson can't get it down, but he is fouled. And the foul to Herb Crook is his second.
Well, let's watch the next time down. Louisville successful that time at getting the mismatch. Turgeon guarding Hall down on the box. But when they found him with a superb pass, instead of taking it to the basket or taking it up over Turgeon, he faded away. And I'm sure Denny Crum is saying, hey, we didn't give it to you down there to shoot a fadeaway. Take it to him.
Thompson had 25 against Louisville at Madison Square Garden. He's got 5 points here this afternoon. Thompson, who played at Wyandotte High School in Kansas City, Kansas, was a high school All-American. He's the 9th all-time scorer in Jayhawk basketball history. The Jayhawks have 3 1,000-point-plus scorers. So do Louisville. Very remarkable, these two clubs. Dreiling, Thompson, and Kellogg for Kansas. Shot put up by Wagner, wouldn't go. Archie Marshall rebounds. Here's Turgeon. And a foul. A foul on Milt Wagner. And he says, me? Wagner commits his second. Denny Crum looking out.
Turgeon in the middle with the ball. Look at this. A little sumo wrestling. Tell me it's not a contact sport. And all of that was just for position. Ron Kellogg, at the 6'5" senior, would not be shoved out.
Timeout. 3 minutes to play here in the first half. 32-23, and here 11-5, ranked 13th.
You know, as we all know, he served as an assistant for 5 years to John Wooden. John used to play a tough December schedule, but very seldom did he leave Pauley Pavilion. Maybe once to the Garden, maybe once to Chicago. Basically, he brought all those teams west and got the good record and got the confidence. Denny Crum has taken partially, the discipline of playing tough teams, but he's not afraid to go on the road, and his record coming down the stretch in the latter part of January, February, and March speaks for itself. It pays off.
Piper got the rebound as Kellogg missed the free throw, and then Piper traveled. Jayhawks having a tough time at the free throw line in recent days.
In both their big wins this week, they had substantial leads deep into the second half, only to see it evaporate with free throw shooting and some questionable judgment on offense.
They're down 9 with 2:50 to play in the first half to Louisville right now are the Jayhawks. Tony Kimbrough is in the game, along with Hall and Thompson and Crook and Wagner. Thompson Thompson. His turnarounder won't go, and Calvin Thompson rebounds for Kansas.
Thompson has disappeared today for Louisville. Only 2 points. And Manning has been out of the game, and that was one of the key defensive matchups.
The Jayhawks have a chance to get back within 7. Nice move. Oh, that was Kellogg with a nice play underneath. 8 points for Kellogg.
Just a contrast now with 2 minutes and 9 seconds to go in that first game in Madison Square Garden. It was Kansas 49, Louisville 42 at the half. We can see that we're considerably under that pace.
Thompson, and it doesn't go. He's fouled by Piper.
Surgeon coming out of that pack of big people trying to say he was pushed around a little bit in there. Look at that guy. Looks like he ought to be an Eagle Scout, but he's tough. Good move. Thompson finally making a strong move to the basket. You know, Thompson's such a multi-talented player. I mean, he's capable of scoring triple-doubles at any game of rebounds, assists, and points. But when you watch him play, you're never really sure that you're getting all of him. He's so smooth.
He can play anywhere, you're right. Thompson, a 63.3% free throw shooter, the leading rebounder for the Cardinals, better than 8 a game. Played in the World University Games, an All-American candidate, the senior, out of Camden, New Jersey.
Those are the first points in 3 minutes for Louisville, so the latter part of this half is when the game is first.
1 minute and 50 to play. Surgeon getting at the Piper, now to Calvin Thompson.
Boy, both of these teams really get after you defensively.
Kellogg in trouble, gets it to Piper. Down the floor it comes, tapped out, and it is finally Turgeon who holds on for Kansas and takes the deep breath.
Nobody could get a fork in that one. It looked like a greased pig.
Turgeon's fall away jumper. The little guy gets his first field goal. He has 3 points, 34-27 Louisville, 1:05 to go in the first half.
Jeff Hall not very happy with Turgeon bellying up on him.
Calvin Thompson tried for the steal. Hall got it back. Hall underneath, batted around, and a foul is called. It'll be on Archie Marshall of Kansas. It is his third.
Larry Brown coming with a guard for Archie Marshall. It's a considerable change in tactics. No, he's
going to take Turgeon out. I think Turgeon is worn out, but so often over the years, Turgeon has been the little guy who's come in and sparked his club back into business.
Turgeon the surgeon, they call him.
Right.
He can operate on you.
He can cut away at the lead.
Plus, he's the kind of a guy that can embarrass you. You know, he's so small, he looks so frail, and but he's got a big engine. Plays hard.
Superb Herb Crook at the line. Crook, a 69% free throw shooter, has his first point of the game.
You see Cook give the fans behind the stands there a little gesture that they came up a little short. Didn't bother him.
Out of Eastern High School in Louisville. He's stronger this season. Worked very hard to gain some strength over the summer months. 36-27, 9-point lead Louisville. 45 seconds to go in this first half.
Out of courtesy to the re-entrance of Cedric Hunter, Louisville came out of the press. Now we're going to see 4 corners to take it down.
The shot clock down to 22-25 on the game clock. Shot clock down to 13. Down to 10.
There's about a 4-second differential.
Hunter's fall away shot won't go. Tapped up and in. Archie Marshall does it again. Marshall's battled hard in underneath. Charge on Wagner. Wagner's third personal foul.
Larry Brown's gamble not to take out Archie Marshall, who has 3 fouls. Here's the charge. Oh, yeah, a little straight arm there. The Camden 6'5" guard decided he wanted a little more room to stick that jumper.
1 second left to play. Manning comes in. Piper comes out. If they could get a bucket, they could cut the lead to 5 here at halftime. Now Manning will put it in play on the far side. You see the clock.
But not many of them were as a result of the press. Most of them were 15 feet down in, where Louisville was just murder. Louisville has held their last 5 opponents to under 50% field goal.
You know, Bucky, we talked about the great tradition in these programs here at Kansas. Adolph Rupp played here. Dean Smith, I mentioned. Clyde Lovellette, JoJo White, Dave Robish, Chamberlain, Bud Stallworth, Darnell Valentine. Of course, the Cardinals with Charlie Tyra, Wes Unseld, Butch Beard, Jim Price, Junior Bidgman, Lancaster Gordon, Darrell Griffith. Streiling is in the lineup, number 30, to start the second half. Kansas has the ball. Working with him is Hunter, Manning, Kellogg, and Thompson, the starting 5. And they try to work a play. Manning to Hunter. Manning with a bad pass and another turnover, the 10th of the game for Kansas.
Well, we talked about Kansas, this being their 3rd game this week, and 2 others big conference games, but 2 guys arrested, Manning and Streiling.
It is Wagner, Cook, Hall, Ellison, and Thompson starting the second half for the Cardinals of Denny Crum.
The original matchup is back, right? Manning on Thompson, Cedric Hunter on Milt Wagner.
And they're man-to-man. Ellison driving in, pops it off, in under, good. Hurt Cook, and a foul on Manning. Cook gets the basket, foul on Manning, and Cook will go to the free throw line.
Louisville very adept at getting that ball down low. They become very patient. You know, for a few years there, everybody kind of thought of Louisville as that run-and-gun outfit. But I don't think this Louisville team is quite as quick as some of Denny Crum's fast teams. And I think their half-court defense is a little stronger, and they're much more proficient at getting down inside. And Purvis Ellison is delivering.
39-31, Louisville. Louisville pressuring. Manning brings it up.
The crowd stands up when Ron Kellogg gets the ball.
I mentioned earlier that Kellogg and Thompson are great wing shooters. Here is Thompson into Streiling. And there you see his improved quickness. He's taken some agility drills and dancing lessons. The big guy from Wichita has his first field goal.
At 7'1", 250, I bet nobody snickered at him in the dancing class.
Steal away by Hunter. 8th turnover of the game for Louisville. A tremendous block by Billy Thompson.
Well, we talked about Thompson being quiet. He reaches with the wrong hand. He should have reached with the hand closest to the rim, and he was very fortunate coming with that outside hand that he didn't bring his body in, but a sensational block.
Larry Brown very upset. He's telling one of the officials, get the whistles in your mouth.
Boy, at the start of the game, all they did was throw him.
Kellogg, foul on Hall. Jeff Hall of Louisville. That is his 2nd personal foul. Team fouls 1 apiece here in the early going of the second half.
Larry Brown maintains his sermonette to these Metro Conference officials.
An All-American for Dean Smith at North Carolina. His overall college record, 108-37. He's really found a home here in Lawrence.
Well,
Kellogg won't go down. Rebound Ellison.
I read today as evidence of that fact that he's built a swimming pool and that his daughter is here at Kansas instead of at the University of North Carolina.
Foul called against Calvin Thompson of Kansas. It's his 2nd. You know, Larry Brown had a reputation as a man who moved around a lot. And when he came here, a lot of people said, well, he might not be here very long, but he has truly found a home, loves the tradition, the history of basketball here, loves this area. Ellison, his shot doesn't go down, and the little guy, Hunter, rebounds. Manning gets it to Calvin Thompson. Into Streiling. Streiling, not able to be a force in the first half, has come back with 4 early in the second half.
A lot of frustration in that slam. Playing less than a minute in the first half. He is well rested and very nasty. Not in a good mood at all.
39-35. Louisville's lead is cut to 4 with 18 minutes to play. steal away. Great play by Calvin Thompson. Thompson got that ball back in. Batted it off the Louisville player, and Kansas will have a chance to cut the lead to 2.
No question. The momentum, all Kansas now. This crowd, who was very quiet for 10 minutes of the first half, very much in the game.
Here's Manning. Look at this big guy. Looks like a guard. Thompson driving.
Louisville needs a timeout. Right now, the press isn't deterring him, and the half-court defense for Louisville has broken down completely.
Long Allen Fieldhouse has erupted now, Bucky. 6 points for Dreiling.
And most of the points are down in the paint, and that's tough to do on Louisville.
Billy Thompson. Hervis Ellison walks. The turnover gives Kansas a chance to tie this game.
Hervis Ellison, who had 18. We're talking frustration here. Good post up inside. Dreiling. Hervis Ellison goes for the steal, misses, and then Dreiling just drains it. An exclamation point.
Dreiling has all 6 Kansas points in the second half.
Louisville now has backed off their pressure. Kansas going with a 1-4 set, and that's where it's going.
Firing again, and he is fouled. Let's see if the basket counts. No basket. Foul before the shot.
Dreiling on sabbatical in the first half has come up with a one-shot offense in the second half. It's called give it to me low, get out of the way, I'm going to slam dunk it.
Foul on Ellison is his second. His third, excuse me. He goes out. Team foul number 2.
I'll tell you what else is curious, too. There aren't any red jerseys getting between Dreiling and that basket. They got the picture.
Nick Swain has come in. Here's a foul called as Manning tried to get the shot off. Foul called on Herbert Crook, his third. And team foul number 3 against Louisville. 7:14 to play. And this big crowd beginning to feel that their Jayhawks might get the job done here as Manning will go to the free throw line.
Well, they're unaccustomed to being behind at home. They're still down 2 with 17 minutes and 14 seconds to go. So look for Louisville to spurt back. The Cardinals are a team that score points in bunches, mostly off that press, which basically has not been effective.
Manning, 65.9% free throw shooter. Watch this crowd. He gets it. And the game is tied for the first time, 39-all. Louisville's biggest lead was 13 in the first half.
Wagner has to be careful on the drive with his fouls.
Jeff Hall quiets this big crowd for a moment. Hall now has 9 points. Kellogg right back.
Louisville wanted to set up the press that time. Cedric Hunter just left it, just flew right by it.
Here's Hall again. Won't go. Good job of rebounding underneath by Crook. He gets it to McSwain, and back out front it comes. Score knotted up at 41, 16.5 to play here at Allen Fieldhouse in Lawrence. Coming up, North Carolina, Georgia Tech. McSwain banks it off the glass. Here's Hunter. Hunter on the run. He likes to take it all away. Didn't get it, and a foul is called on Hall. So often, Bucky, you'll see Hunter try to go from one end to the other like that.
Well, here he is, coast to coast, a little shake and bake. Milt Wagner with 3 fouls, plays Matador defense, kind of drops his cape, lets him go by. Hall tries to make a stand, but Hunter just too quick.
Jeff Hall's third personal foul. Archie Marshall's going to come back into the lineup for Kansas. And Crook has gone out for Louisville. He's been replaced by 44 Kimbrough. Calvin Thompson out of the game for Kansas. 2 shots for Cedric Hunter.
Billy Thompson has to appear for Louisville. He's been a mystery today. And earlier, it was Manning covering him. Manning is now guarding Hall. So there just has to be a resurgence from Thompson.
Kansas has the lead, 43-41. They led only once early in the first half, 3-2. Hunter and a tie-up. And Louisville will get it. Louisville has McSwain and Hall, Wagner, Tony Kimbrough, and Billy Thompson on the court. Kansas going with Hunter and Dreiling and Marshall and Manning and Kellogg.
Milt Wagner now playing tentative with his foul problem.
Thompson put it up. A foul underneath on Archie Marshall. That's 4.
Well, this appears to be a set play, trying to get Billy Thompson in the game. Could have very easily dropped that one off to Kimbrough, who was wide open on the other side. But I think Denny Crum is glad to see him make a power move to the basket. He's been playing in the tuxedo.
Back to the bench for Archie Marshall, and replacing him is Calvin Thompson, number 35. Billy Thompson, top scorer last year with a 15.1 average for the Cardinals. 2 shots.
Nice.
Kansas has always been able to do the job very well in this building. It opened in 1955. Kansas 305 wins, 80 losses in Allen Fieldhouse. The 2 free throws and a timeout with 15:57 remaining in this one. Louisville and Kansas.
What I can give you is a head start.
There's Kelly Dreiling.
Well, that's what we need. Another pretty face in broadcasting.
Field goal percentage. Look at the second half. 67% for Kansas. And Hunter gets the feed from Manning, and it's 2 points. And Kansas leads 45-43.
And that was the same set play that Kansas came out with to start the second half, except there was a poor pass. No question now, Olmo is wearing a white jersey.
Here's Hall getting it down to Tony Kimbrough in the game. That's McSwain. Wagner. The jumper by Kimbrough. Won't go down. Foul call on McSwain. McSwain's second personal foul and team foul number 5 against the Cardinals.
Milt Wagner definitely playing a little bit timid, trying to avoid that foul problem. It just has got him playing just too soft. He's got to be assertive, forget the foul.
Hunter telling Manning, I'll bring it up. Go ahead and get on down there. 15 minutes to play. The jumper by Kellogg. Foul on, I believe, it's on Kellogg.
Yeah,
on Kellogg.
He really put up a poor shot. That ball didn't look good coming off his hand. Banged hard against the glass, but he went right after it. Just too aggressive coming over the back. Little half-court pressure. Now look at Manning at 6'11" at the top of that half-court press. Oh.
Here's a steal.
Yes, sir. He had 7 steals the other night at Missouri.
Manning got it to Hunter. Back to Manning. Thompson to Dreiling. Manning's jumper after the feed from Dreiling. Dreiling tapped it back out. Saved by Calvin Thompson, who hands it off to Hunter. This crowd, look at it. They're standing all around this building. The students standing everywhere. 45-43, Kansas. Dreiling.
Oh.
There you saw again, Bucky, his improved quickness inside, and there's a foul on the play.
Like a man possessed. Look at him spread out and want that ball. Turning, put it on the floor. He gets a C for that, but a superb release, and look at the fire.
Foul is on McSwain. It's his 3rd. The big guy from Wichita, Kansas.
You can't liken him to Will Chamberlain, but that move in the post looked like Clyde Lovellette.
If Kansas gets into the NCAA, it'll be the 4th consecutive time for Dreiling, who, of course, played his first year of college basketball for the Wheat Shockers of Wichita, and then transferred in here and sat it out for a year.
I that both these teams have a very good shot to be in the Final Four. I'll be disappointed if at least one of them isn't. I think they're that good.
So will their fans. Milt Wagner back out to Hall. Hall into McSwain. The jumper by Kimbrough goes down. And that breaks the drought. Kimbrough's first field goal. 48-45 Kansas. 13.5 minutes to go here at Fog Allen Fieldhouse in Lawrence.
Kimbrough, one of the super freshmen brought in by Denny Crum that are now maturing as we enter the last week in January.
Coming up, Georgia Tech, North Carolina. Lucky you and I did that game last year at Carmichael when Georgia Tech beat the Tar Heels. This should be another dandy this afternoon. Here's Wagner. Underneath, batted around, and it'll belong to Louisville.
Boy, for some unexplained reason, the tenacious Kansas defense that time, very relaxed. There was nothing but red jerseys all over that offensive board.
Thompson will put it in play.
Thompson to Wagner. There's the franchise right there. Those two guys got to make it work.
Whistle, and I don't know what the call is. 35. Calvin Thompson, his third. Louisville's committed 16 fouls, Kansas 5.
Kansas laying back now, looking at the Louisville offense. Not much pressure.
Thompson tries for the jumper, and another foul called on Thompson, and that's 4.
There's been so much intensity. That last sequence, they both just kind of stood and looked at each other. Billy Thompson here with nothing going, just takes the ball right up in Danny Manning's face, and not a good foul at all for Manning.
Did they call that on Manning or Thompson?
Oh.
Now they called it on Thompson. That's correct. Thompson goes out, and Turgeon is in the lineup.
Fortuitous for the Jayhawks.
Billy Thompson, his long arms, very smart player.
He had him up there and pulled him away. Larry Brown nibbling.
Thompson is a bit more under control this season, I'm told. Eddie Cohen and I chatting about that here last night. Kansas has a 1-point advantage, 48-47, as Calvin Thompson is sitting it out. They got Manning there on the right, Danny Manning's dad, one of the assistant coaches here at Kansas. And Danny saves it out front.
The only thing keeping Danny Manning from really being super is his size and bulk. And if you look at his dad, and the genes are good, he's going to be a big, big man.
Wagner coming down against Turgeon. Off the Hall. Great block by Hunter. McSwain scores. And a foul on Kellogg. Louisville's quickness and their ability to explode on occasions, picking things back up right now as we get a low look at it.
We're talking explode here. Cedric Hunter at 6 foot stuffs Jeff Hall at 6'4", and he rammed that ball right down the top of his head.
Kellogg's third personal foul. 17 foul. 1-1 will be effect from here on out. McSwain shooting one and chance for the three-point play. And McSwain puts Louisville up 50-48. We're back and forth here.
A game of spurts. The crowd quieted by this last Louisville outburst.
Hunter trying to get it inside, batted right back to him off the hands of Kimbrough. And now a timeout is called. Timeout, Kansas. 11:48 to go. Louisville 50, Kansas 48. Getting it out to Kellogg and back out front to Manning. Turgeon on the court with Riley. The 5 for Kansas. Hall and Wagner along with Kimbrough, McSwain, and Billy Thompson out there for Louisville.
Cardinals going zone, trying to cut off that inside game and keep Dreiling out of it.
Dreiling gets the rebound. The shot was taken by Kellogg. Dreiling was there to get it in. Dreiling with 11 points, all here in the second half.
Well, one of the problems with his own, it makes the passing lane a little tougher inside, which it definitely weakened on the second shot, and the big man really went hard to the glass.
They're tied for the fourth time. It's 50 all. All underneath to Wagner. Made a nice move. Milt Wagner scoring.
With Turgeon in the game now, with Cedric Hunter, a very small backcourt for the Jayhawks. Let's see if Louisville's big guards at 6'4" and 6'5" can exploit him.
Wagner's been in the heat many times, of course. He went to the Final Four with this Louisville club in '83. 25-footer, Kellogg. 14 points for Kellogg. 52 all. Traveling call against Billy Thompson. Kellogg caused the problem as he cut over and made a play in front of him.
Billy Thompson trying to take Manning in, probably well aware of the foul situation, but good weak side help. Ron Kellogg doing it both ends of the floor.
We're nearing the midway point of this second half. Kansas was down 36-31 at halftime. We're tied 52 all. Turgeon getting it to Manning, and Manning to Dreiling. Dreiling trying to stuff, wouldn't go, but he is fouled by Billy Thompson.
In addition to the foul, but watch the big fella inside. He caught that pass with his Adam's apple, but recovered, going right over Billy Thompson. There isn't a caution light, certainly no stop sign out there. Dreiling is just like a runaway beer truck going at that glass. But Thompson's the first guy to step in and even think about taking the charge.
Dreiling, the MVP of the Kansas team last year, a radio, TV, film major.
It's interesting, the Kansas crowd with those hands up and coming down with a, I think it does put pressure on that shooter, anticipating that turn.
Hands go up. Silence reigns.
That's unique. I like that.
12 points for Dreiling, all in the second half. 53-52, Kansas. Milt Wagner driving against Hunter. Wagner trying to take charge out there. Jeff Hall. Kimbrough gets it to McSwain. There's Wagner, makes a nice move and gets two more. Wagner now with 17 points. 1 point Louisville lead at 54-53, 9:35 to play.
Cedric Hunter may have held Milt Wagner 2 for 15 in Madison Square Garden, but this one won't go in the scrapbook defensively.
That was Dreiling tapping it out after the shot by Manning, and Kellogg made the save right in front of our broadcast position. Turgeon wasn't looking, was he?
Turgeon and Hunter are both penetrators, so the zone is a good move for Louisville.
Kellogg trying again. It won't go. McSwain getting it down to Kimbrough. Back out to Wagner.
You know, from Louisville's standpoint, they took a pretty good shot at the start of this half with Dreiling's Herculean effort and managed to keep everything under control and make their own little comeback.
Kimbrough's pass for Hall went awry, a turnover. 13 now against Louisville. They've committed 6 here in the second half. Kansas has turned it over 11 times. The Jayhawks trying to get the lead back right here with 8:45 to play. Manning lost the ball out of bounds. He thought he was fouled by Kimbrough.
A sweeping reject that time by Kimbrough.
Sweeping is a good word, Bucky.
Danny Manning was looking in his rearview mirror, didn't see anything, and the next thing you know, whoosh, it's gone.
Hunter out to Dreiling. And a foul on Milt Wagner. Wagner and Kellogg went for it. That's 4 on Milt Wagner, the senior leader of the Cardinals.
Benny Crum looking at the other officials, Dan Woolridge in particular, hoping that he could get a clarification that somebody else saw it differently.
Again, we'll mention all these officials from the Metro: Carroll Allen, San Daniel Graff, and Dan Woolridge.
You know, though, Jay, I really think that's a good move. If we're going to have a good intersectional series, let the visiting team have their conference officials, and it just eliminates the homer syndrome. I think it's smart.
Kellogg now is 3 for 5 at the free throw line. The score tied at 54. It's the 6th time in the second half we've been tied. 16 points for Kellogg. And Kansas back in the lead, 55-54.
Boy, with a smaller lineup, the press is much better for Kansas.
Archie Marshall is ready to come back in for the Jayhawks when he has the opportunity. Call from 20. Wouldn't go. Foul on Hunter. Cedric Hunter commits the personal. That's his first. Archie Marshall returning for the Jayhawks.
The last time the collision occurred and Milt Wagner got there the same time as the ball, he didn't get the call. This time he did. That would have been just very critical for Louisville. That would have been his fifth.
Calvin Thompson replacing Mark Turgeon for Kansas. And I mentioned Marshall is back in there. He's replacing Kellogg.
We'll see if Louisville adjusts and comes out of the zone. Obviously a better shooter in there for Turgeon.
Wagner is an 80.9% free throw shooter. He now has 18 points. Score tied at 55. Louisville gets the lead back 56-55 with 8:26 to play. Hunter and Manning and Dreiling and Marshall and Calvin Thompson on the court for Kansas.
Louisville did go man for man.
Dreiling trying to get it under for Manning. He couldn't handle it. Batted away. Coming back with it is Kimbrough. Kimbrough has it. Oh, nice pull-up and a fine shot by Kimbrough. Very well under control. He has 4 points, and it's a 3-point Louisville lead.
Billy Thompson made a superb defensive play. He not only made the block, he kept it alive and triggered that break.
Called, and Larry Brown is beside himself. The call,
he's got chills. That must be
against Marshall. That's going to be 5. If that stands, and Marshall's out of the game. 5 personal fouls on Archie Marshall. 7:50 to play. Louisville by Brown was trying to indicate that a timeout had been called. While that was happening, they let Hall shoot a free throw. Made the free throw, and it's 59-55, and now the officials discussing matters at the scores table. And Larry Brown and one of his assistants, Mark Bradigan, lecturing the officials at one end. Cool Hand Luke is, as always, cool. I bet he's erupting inside a little bit, Bucky.
Yeah, he doesn't have ulcers, I don't believe, but he is a carrier. Very laid back. His teams do his talking.
Now we get a timeout with 7:50 remaining to be played, and Louisville has a 5-point advantage, 60-55, after the 2 free throws by Hall. At halftime, it was 36-31 Louisville. Kansas came back to get the lead here in the second half. It seesawed back and forth, and with 7:50 remaining, Louisville has gotten back to a 5-point advantage. The Jayhawks trying to win their 28th in a row here at Paul Allen Fieldhouse on the Kansas University campus, and Louisville's coach Denny Crum trying to win victory 350 on the year. Hickman, of course, won 443 games in 23 seasons at Louisville, and it was Peck that got the basketball perking for the Cardinals. Of course, John Dromo was there after him, and then Denny Crum came on the scene. Coming up next,
back in it.
Kansas has Dreiling, Calvin Thompson, Ron Kellogg, Danny Manning, and Cedric Hunter out there. They're down 5. Dreiling wanted to take the shot, didn't do it, now takes it in and does it. Oh! And a foul.
He was voted the most improved player. Look at this. Looks like a bust. moves like a bus. Bam! Good thing there are breakaway rims.
The foul was on Billy Thompson, his fourth. Dreiling with 14 points all in the second half can put his club within 2. 7.5 to play. Rebound, McSwain. McSwain and Wagner, Hall, Thompson, and Kimbrough on the court for the Cardinals. That's McSwain. Kimbrough.
Cardinals standing now on offense. We need to get some motion, get into something.
7 minutes remaining in this one.
They're indecisive. They're not a good team. They're playing cute.
And Crum getting up and yelling out there in a foul call.
That is not characteristic of Louisville. When they're at their best, they're a slashing, cutting team, and they just kind of stood around and looked.
Foul on Dreiling, his third. You remember he had 2 in the first minute and a half and sat out the first half. Turgeon now coming into the game to replace Cedric Hunter. McSwain at the free throw line. The junior from Atlanta, Georgia St. Pius. He has 6 points. McSwain's high this year was 8 against Cincinnati the other day. He's played very well of late. This is this one. Dreiling rebound at the Turgeon. 4-point lead for Louisville. Larry Brown yelling out to his troops. Turgeon guarded by Hall.
Dreiling wants the ball, and he's open.
Manning to Thompson. Thompson takes a 15-footer, bangs it in. 61 to 59 Louisville. 6.5 to play. 8 points for Calvin Thompson. Milt Wagner guarded by Kellogg. Thompson guarded by Manning. He match up there. And here's McSwain. Dreiling's on him. McSwain takes it, didn't get it. Dreiling rebounds. Kansas with an opportunity to tie the score at 61. Turgeon holding up the clutch fist, calling out to his teammates. So often this little man has helped bring the Jayhawks back. Dreiling from Thompson. Dreiling with a remarkable second half. 16 points. The score is tied for the 8th time. We're 61 all.
McSwain napping under there. A superb pass.
Milt Wagner is fouled. Foul is on Thompson, and he's out of the game. Calvin Thompson fouls out with 5:28 to play.
Getting deep into the Kansas bench now. A superb pass that time by Thompson. Finds Dreiling underneath, and it's the same option. But the Kansas fans are not bored at all.
On the line will be Milt Wagner. We're going to get a timeout first. 5:28 left to go. 1. Kansas. Their next game will come up next Tuesday evening when they'll go to Ames, Iowa to play Johnny Orr's Iowa State Cyclones. The Cardinals meet LaSalle coming into Freedom Hall in Louisville next Tuesday evening.
And next Saturday they will host the Bruins of UCLA right here on NBC.
Later this afternoon, after this one's over, Georgia Tech at North Carolina. Tomorrow, Notre Dame and North Carolina, then the Super Bowl. Wagner at the line. They'll try to break the tie. Prep All-American. This Camden, New Jersey team, 27-1 his senior year. 20 points for Wagner. He's been leading the Cardinals, averaging nearly 15 a game.
First 7 games of the year, he was shooting in the 30s, just unexplainably off to a bad start. Since then, he's been shooting over 60-some%. And, of course, in those first 7 games, it was the first loss to Kansas by 5 in Madison Square Garden.
Wagner has 21. His high has been 27 this season against Florida State. Louisville by 2.
The last time this small guard lineup for Kansas was in, Louisville went zone. Turgeon, not an outside shooter, more of a penetrator, as is Cedric Hunter. But this time the Cardinals are man.
Riling again. Was the basket good?
They call the charge on Cedric Hunter.
No basket. No basket. Charge is on Cedric Hunter. No basket.
All right, against the man for man, Cedric Hunter. Looked like a good call.
Sure did.
It looked like a good call. Good weak side defense. Very close. Purvis Ellison just getting that foot down. Very close. A gutsy call right in the lane. And a very expensive deuce loss. With Riley losing that slam dunk. We may see zone. When you play man against this backcourt of Turgeon and Hunter, you're playing 2 jets that can penetrate.
Purvis Ellison on the line. Driving through, Turgeon, tapped in by Kellogg. Kellogg scoring for Kansas, 63 all. Kellogg now with 18 points. Ball was kicked. And Kenny Crum looking out. Purvis Ellison appeared to jam his hand. Chris Piper will return to the lineup for Kansas. Piper, number 24, replacing Turgeon.
A totally different look now to the Jayhawks lineup. Less speed, more size.
Georgia Tech and North Carolina coming up next. Purvis Ellison back out to Wagner.
Again, Louisville, not a lot of action, a lot of standing.
Ball came down, and there's a foul as he threw it away. He threw the ball away. Kansas thought they had a turnover. Instead, there's a foul charge. It's on Dreiling, his 4th.
Larry Brown is emotionally drained.
You don't see him take his coat off very often, not the natty coach of the Jayhawks. Boy, he is upset. There's the Kansas foul trouble. Marshall fouled out. 8:04 left. Thompson fouled out. 5:28 left. Here is Hall. Doesn't get it. Rebound Dreiling. Kansas with a chance for the lead with 4:20 to go.
The Cardinals benevolent again at the free throw line, giving Kansas every opportunity. This is what they did to Cincinnati at home.
Kellogg. It's good, and there's a foul. Kellogg cut it through from the side. The foul on Hall is his 4th. And a chance for the three-pointer for Kellogg, who has 18 points.
That man, Ron Kellogg, called by his coach, Larry Brown, as fine a shooter as I've ever been associated with. Now, you've got to think about that. UCLA, all of his years in the pros, that's high praise.
A big three-pointer for Kellogg and a 3-point lead Kansas, and this crowd of 15,000 going wild. Ellison comes right back. Purvis Ellison, the big freshman, with a big bucket there. He has half a dozen. It's 66-65. Kansas leading with 3:40 to play. Chris Piper, Hunter. Kellogg forcing it and didn't get it, tapped up. It's good by Manning. Danny Manning comes through. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
WTV Alive.
With Bucky Waters, Jay Randolph at Fog Allen Fieldhouse in Lawrence, Kansas, with 3:30 left in the Kansas-Louisville game. 68-65 Kansas as Danny Manning will be on the free throw line. 15,000 plus jammed in here. Louisville led 36-31 at half. Louisville led by as many as 13 in the first half, by as many as 8 in the second half. Kansas had an early 3-2 lead in the first half, had a 5-point lead at 48-43 here in the second half.
That was Manning's first field goal in the second half. He had only 2 free throws prior to that.
That foul a moment ago on Hall. He is out of the game. 5 personals on Hall. Back in there is Herb Crook for Louisville. This is Wagner and Crook, number 41 in there now, guarded by Piper.
Cardinals having a hard time getting into their offense. Kansas pressure very effective.
69-65. Kansas, and a foul on Kellogg.
I think part of the problem, Milt Wagner with 4 fouls is very conscious of Cedric Hunter and the fact that Cedric is quick enough to draw the charge for any ill-advised move at the hoop, and he has tended to plane Milt Wagner off. The entry pass is slow in coming, and Louisville's just kind of standing and looking.
That foul was called against Piper and not Kellogg. Herb Crook at the free throw line. Shooting into a sea of waving Jayhawk fans. No. Somebody was in the lane.
Thompson.
Oh, boy. And a big turnover here as Kansas will get the basketball. Up 4. There it
Billy
is.
Thompson, the left foot, number 55 in the second lane face. Dan Rolich made the call, a gutsy call.
3 minutes to play. Manning throws it away, trying to get it to Kellogg. 13 turnovers for Kansas, 13 turnovers for Louisville. 2:57 remaining.
And in one of those key matchups, it was Billy Thompson right in Danny Manning's face that caused that turnover.
Milt Wagner getting it to Crook and back to Wagner. Wagner guarded by Hunter. Wagner's jumper. Oh, he's a dandy, isn't he?
Purvis Ellison, who had 18 in that first game in New York in November, been very quiet, but Wagner has definitely come forth.
Wagner has 23. The lead is 2 for Kansas at 69-67, 2.5 to play.
They've got to get the ball back to Dryden.
Piper loses it in underneath. And it is Billy Thompson coming back. Long pass to Crook. Crook along the baseline. Couldn't get it down. Ellison puts it up. It won't go. A battle for it. Manning gets it away to Hunter. Hunter trying to get it to Kellogg, and a foul called on Crook. Foul called on Herb Crook is his fourth.
Furious action. Here comes the quickness. Cedric Hunter coming out of the pack. Just about gets the handle on it. And Super Herb Cook caught for the foul in the open court. Probably a pretty good foul. If he doesn't get him there, it's a breakaway layup.
What an exciting way to open our Super Weekend on NBC. And coming up, of course, Georgia Tech and North Carolina. Hunter with the 1-and-1 at the free throw line. Hunter has missed a bunch of 1-and-1 in recent days. He's only shooting 51% at the free throw line, and you want to remember back to that one.
He was 0 for 4 on the front end of a 1-and-1 Thursday night at Missouri.
Ellison. Wagner. Wagner has to do it all. He doesn't get that one down, but Ellison got the rebound. In underneath, Kimbrough's turnaround jumper has tied it up at 69.
You better believe Louisville is going to grab Cedric Hunter. Larry Brown's position is, even though he's had trouble at the line under pressure, if we're going to be a great team, I've got to go with him. So he's just told him, I'll take all the pressure. You shoot the free throws.
Hunter looking in there, trying to get it to Dreiling, who's had a superb second half. There is Dreiling, and a foul call. And let's see who it was called on in heavy traffic underneath. Purvis Ellison, his fourth.
Denny Crum has to make a change, I think. Milt Wagner is now guarding Cedric Hunter. If they want to make a foul on Hunter, I don't believe he wants Milt Wagner to do it with 4 fouls. He's got to have someone else make the grab. But percentage-wise, Hunter is the man you want on the line if the Cardinals need that kind of situation.
16 points for Dreiling in the second half. Make it 17.
Jay Randolph, I can't believe how much he's improved. You told me, but now I'm a believer, and I didn't think I was going to get to see him play at all in the first half.
Remarkable turnaround for this big fellow over the last 2 seasons under Larry Brown. 71-69 Kansas, a minute and 10 seconds to play. Dryling's 18 points, all in the second half. Timeout Louisville. 1:09 remaining. In the university, there used to be an old fan who'd sit down at the end of the bench and in a game like this would take the straw out of the Coke and start to twist it. And this is a stem winder here this afternoon.
Indeed it is. And of course, Kansas has had their share of them. A narrow win over Oklahoma here in Allen Fieldhouse, and they got a nice road win at Mizzou, but they struggled in both of them. And the key to those has been Cedric Hunter, who was 3 for 9 at the line against Oklahoma, and as we've already pointed out, missed the first 4 of the 1-1 Thursday night down in Columbia, Missouri. So Louisville's going to try and score, and then they're going to foul Hunter if they don't. And that's the man right there, Milt Wagner, that's done it all day for the Cardinals, and he's got to do it now.
1 minute to play. Ball batted out of bounds. Louisville will have it. Dreiling played less than a minute in the first half, and he has come back to lead his team here in the second half at 18 points. Wagner over Hunter, comes up short. Rebound Billy Thompson, lost it. Kansas has it with 49 seconds remaining. Turgeon will come back in for the Jayhawks. Chris Piper will go out.
Well, they cleared the floor for Milt Wagner. His shot went up short. Billy Thompson went up beautifully. All he had to do was go powering back up with it, but he lost the handle. Milt Wagner's on Cedric Hunter now.
Manning almost threw that ball too far for the little guy Turgeon to get to it. Now we have 35 on the shot clock. We've got 4 seconds difference between the shot clock and the game clock.
Oh, Kimbrough at 6'6", trying to cover Turgeon. Complete mismatch. They don't want Cedric Hunter to handle it if possible. Turgeon pretty good under pressure.
15 on the shot clock.
Louisville can't wait any longer for Hunter to get it. They got to make a move. Foul him.
That's Manning taking the jumper. It doesn't go. And timeout Louisville with 4 seconds left in this one. The Cardinals will talk it over with head coach Denny Crum. 4 seconds to come up with a tying hoop. 71-6. And they throw the ball away. The pass was intended for Wagner, and he wasn't looking, and it's all over. Kansas has won its 28th in a row here at Allen Fieldhouse.